today I'm very excited because we're gonna talk with someone that has really done amazing things in her life. And I've got to tell you, I talk so much on this show about taking care of each other and humanity and understanding the importance of, yes, building a company, but having a mission and taking care of each other because it's so important. And people always, argue, well, if we have to focus on profits. Well, listen, if you really think about it, if you really look at these companies that have tremendous success, they have amazing missions that they run parallel, and those missions help even their profits look better, and then they can help more of the world. And we have very few companies that are really mission-based companies, and I preach this, you've probably heard me say it, I don't know how many times, but we have such a small fragment of our companies are mission-based. And I go, if we could just get to 20% of the companies around the world being mission-based and really caring, then this world would be a different place. We wouldn't have hunger. We wouldn't have so many of the issues we have today. But, leading the charge in, philanthropy and taking care of society, and God knows she didn't have to. She has an amazing education. She's worked in corporate America, and so I'm really excited to find out why she made that transition, into the philanthropic side of corporate America, right? How do you change that? So we're going to welcome Stacey Stewart to the show, the president of MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Stacey.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very nice introduction. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's you. And so it makes it so easy.
Yeah.
And, so you and I have never met. We met on the phone.
Met on the phone, yeah.
And I'm on the phone, and I feel this power coming through the phone when we're talking. This really strong presence and powerful woman. And not that...
And then you meet me, and I'm like, short.
No, I love it. Here's this little, stick of dynamite coming in the studio, and I thought you were 6'8". But it's just it's a testament to who you are, right?
Yeah.
And why you're such a good leader. And so we're going to kind of talk about that, and maybe we can find out where there's some struggles in your journey. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So you grew up where?
So I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, and grew up there.
Through high school?
Through high school, yeah. I grew up, my dad was from Atlanta. My grandparents moved to Atlanta. My mom is from South Carolina, so I'm very much a product of the South.
Yes.
Yeah, very much so.
And so because you have a fantastic education. You went and got your master's, and did your college stint, got your master's, and Georgetown. Am I thinking that right?
I went to Georgetown undergrad,
Okay.
And got an undergraduate degree in economics.
Yeah.
And then I went to business school at University of Michigan.
Okay, so were you always a smart student in high school? Did you always have this gift? Because God knows it was tough for me.
So it's kind of interesting because early on in life, if we can go there,
please, let's go.
So I went to a nursery school that was started in a woman's home, and the woman that started it had taught my dad in high school.
What?
Yeah, and so I went to her house every day. It was like literally a white picket fence house. She was the most amazing teacher. She was the one who sparked my imagination. We planted tulip bulbs in the fall, and the fascinating thing was seeing them. Now I'm 4 or 5 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
And seeing them bloom in the spring it sounds so easy and simple and small, but for me it was the biggest thing. And what she exposed me to was just amazing. Anyway, I'm saying all that to say that when I was in her little school, by the way, just about everybody that went to her little school graduated to become lawyers, judges, doctors, business people, like amazing people.
Yes.
All African American. And she sparked something in me. And one of the things that she said was, I think she told my parents, she said, no, I think Stacey can go on to first grade and just skip kindergarten. So I didn't go to kindergarten. I think that was a huge mistake, by the way, because I think I spent many years trying to catch up from not having gone to kindergarten. But anyway, yeah, I was a good student. I was a good student, but I think I wasn't the A+ student all the time.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So
I have a theory about that, though. I'll come back to that.
No, now, and I want to hear about it. But I believe people are so much the product of their environment.
Yes.
Right. This woman, and I'm just hoping that you're going to tell me that you've gone back to see her before she passed away, or she's passed. Hopefully,
she has passed away.
She has passed away. Okay. Yeah. Because her seeing the results of that time, right? It's so important that we have that, and we have these people that understand this is what's important for our children. And what I heard that was so key, because kids don't get to do this today, is putting their hands in the dirt.
Yes.
We're jumping on their damn phones and on their tablets, and we forget to take our shoes off.
Yes. Go in and plant the tulips. So,
oh my gosh, that's so important to touch the ground.
Right. Just the little things that she taught us, And there were so many other things I can't remember right now, but I know that they were all very impactful. But to your point around, did I ever keep her in my mind? She never left my mind. And so years later in my career, the first honorary degree I got was from Trinity University, which is in D.C. There are different Trinities, but the Trinity University of D.C. I was the graduation speaker and got an honorary degree, and I made the speech in large part about her. And I flew her up from Atlanta to be there with me.
Stacey.
I know, before she passed away. And it's gonna make me cry about that. But anyway, she had a huge impact on my life.
You're tearing me up.
I know,
I gotta
so
tell you. Because these are the moments that are so important in our lives.
Yeah, and I think, we have a tendency to forget these people that have had such a huge impact. And I think if we don't go back to them and tell them thank you for what you poured into me, it's a missed opportunity, and she's passed on now. So I'm glad I had that opportunity to spend with her, and for her to appreciate, all the lives she impacted, especially mine, in a very important way.
And you got to tell so many people that story. And hopefully when they have their kids, right?
Yes.
And when they're dealing with other kids in whatever environment or work they do, they see the importance of taking that minute, spending that time to we don't realize how much we can shape a young mind.
Right. And that was an important, that just about that graduation, about that university, it's all women, and they end up graduating a lot of women who have had to leave school, maybe graduate from high school, couldn't go to college immediately, so they came back to school. Wow. Maybe they had kids. So every woman that graduated almost had this amazing, village of people. It was the pastors, it was the caregivers, the grandparents, the kids, the grandkids who were celebrating them once they got their degree. And that was incredibly impactful. So, it is important. That speech I talked about planting the tulips and what it means to plant the tulips in your life that then pay dividends years later. And that was sort of the story of so many of those women that had graduated that day.
So I'm trying to think, okay, how do we take this methodology and take it around the world, right?
Yeah.
How, and I guess you're doing it, in your area. But we just have to remember that it doesn't take that much.
No, it doesn't.
To plant the tulips.
My part of how I even got into my career was because my mom and my dad. Now, remember, I was born in 1964, so I was born right at the height of the Civil Rights Movement. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, in the heart of the civil rights movement. And my father was a physician, had gone to Howard Medical School, gone to Morehouse College, right down the street from where he grew up,
Amazing.
in Atlanta. And my mother was a pharmacist, had gone, both products of HBCUs. And, but my mom and my dad both were very clear, not in their words, but just their actions, that whatever you did professionally was not good enough. Sure, you needed to excel professionally, but you needed to go beyond that. Like, you needed to actually do more for your community. You needed to actually invest and do things beyond just your career. And it was that model of life that they showed me that kind of formed the foundation for my own life, that planting of the tulips, right? Which is, how do you invest in something bigger than yourself, right?
Man, in a world where it's about me,
All the time.
whew,
All the time.
those are powerful and incredible words.
Yeah.
And so inspiring. And for your mom and your dad to have really pushed that education on themselves, right?
Yeah.
To grow themselves.
That was my grandma.
Better. She did that. Because those times,
oh yeah,
I mean, I couldn't even imagine what they had to deal with in the middle of because that was such a turbulent,
very
brutal,
turbulent. Yep.
Horrible time.
And it's funny, we're in a period where we don't talk a lot about history and we dismiss history. History is very important, right? Because when my father was born was 1918. Okay.
Wow.
This is at the height of Jim Crow in the South. His mother had gone to Spelman College in Atlanta, which was then a 2-year institution that really just prepared young women to be teachers, because that was what you did. And so she became a teacher. She then pushed herself to then go back and get her 4-year degree from Morris Brown College, also in Atlanta. Wow. And
what a
so
woman.
that she could become a principal, which was a really good job back in the early 1900s. And she was determined that her kids, she had 2 boys, my dad and my uncle, that they would succeed in life. So my dad wanted to be a coach. My dad went to Morehouse. He wanted to be a coach. He didn't, he loved sports. He was a great athlete. And but my grandmother was insistent. No, you're going to go to medical school. She sent both of her kids to medical school. Wow. They both went to Howard Medical School and graduated to become physicians. And so that emphasis on education and success and leaning into, being as successful as possible goes back generations.
In your lineage. That is the
100%.
The foundation. Yeah. And it would be interesting to know about your grandmother's mother.
Yes.
And where did that strong, powerful will come from?
And I wish I knew more about my great grandparents. I do know that they were from Virginia, moved to West Virginia, and then moved to Washington D.C. And that would have been a time post Reconstruction that they would have been working to become more upwardly mobile. Mm-hmm. And so I think there is something in my family's history that really, where there's that deep sense of pushing yourself to do as well as you can. Yeah.
It's in the DNA.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love those stories of powerful women.
Yeah.
Because that's where you come from.
Yeah.
A whole line of amazing, powerful women.
Absolutely.
That have affected your life.
Yeah. My mother, as I mentioned, was a pharmacist.
Mm-hmm.
And she graduated in the 1950s from Xavier University in New Orleans, Louisiana. And
there wasn't very many women pharmacists.
No, not at all. And my mom was, like, I always say, she's like one of those girls you love to hate, right? She was like valedictorian in her class in high school, homecoming queen, like the whole thing, beautiful, smart, the whole thing. And she moved to Charlotte. She grew up in South Carolina, Rock Hill, South Carolina, and moved to Charlotte, become a pharmacist, then moved to Atlanta. And as a pharmacist, that's how she met my dad, who's a doctor, and they got married. And this is the 50s, early 60s. It was a time when, this, when men were sort of like, no, my wife, stay at home, raise the kids and all that. And she was super smart. And she put her life on hold to raise us and to be with us. And she did a lot of amazing things. She moved into much more of a volunteer kind of career. She was the first African-American woman to be the head of the Atlanta Fulton County League of Women Voters.
Wow.
She sued county government on behalf of the voters and won a big lawsuit and got sort of labeled a good government person, and eventually served on 13 years on the city council of Atlanta. She ran for mayor in 1993. She lost, but she was the first Black woman to run a pretty credible campaign for mayor of Atlanta. So, which then I think opened the pathways for many others as well. So yeah, I come from a pretty strong line of some really terrific women on both sides, my mom and my dad's side. Yeah.
And you didn't have a choice at that point.
I don't think I did.
I
don't think I did.
You had your life lined out for you, and it was just, I'm sure they pushed you, but it's just who you are.
Yeah, but
who your family is.
It is. But your point of, you're a product of your environment. So the neighborhood, I don't talk about this a lot, but the neighborhood I grew up in is designated a historical area in Atlanta. As you can imagine, in the 50s and 60s with redlining and things like that, there weren't a lot of places in the city of Atlanta. There were certain neighborhoods where Black people could live and certain neighborhoods you couldn't. The neighborhood that I grew up in was a neighborhood that, through some very sort of, I wouldn't say underhanded, but very crafty ways, Black developers bought land that, not sure if the banks knew who was buying it, but they bought the land.
Yeah.
And developed a whole neighborhood that was built by Black developers, Black contractors, and the entire neighborhood was had homes of Black doctors, dentists, lawyers, business people. And so not only within my family was there a high level of expectation, but the entire neighborhood.
Wow, just everybody fed off each other.
Models of success for African Americans. So that was almost everywhere I turned. I was like, well, I have to be doing something with my life here.
A lot of pressure.
I don't have a choice here.
It's this crazy thing is because I was born in 1958.
Mm-hmm. 10 years, my sister. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't that long ago that our country was kind of messed up.
Yeah.
We had a lot of, it was weird to think about it now. It's hard. And they go, well, we don't need to talk about the history. No, we do, because especially for women,
for women,
and an African-American woman, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was tough enough for women. And then you put race in the middle of this thing. And
another level of difficulty.
I just, I grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas, and we're, south on the beach, I didn't understand it, although 50-60% of the community was Hispanic. And so we were, everybody was just everybody. I didn't get it. We were all friends. I didn't know any different. There wasn't really lines that segregated or segmented us, although, but I do remember going down to the courthouse, and it was probably the most shocking thing I'd ever seen. And they weren't really utilizing it, but there was still a sign that about the water fountain.
Oh,
white zone.
Colored and white, or yeah.
And I was probably 8 years old.
Wow, it's amazing you remember that. Yeah.
And it just made such an impact. One of my friends was, African American.
That's right.
And I went, Dad, what in the world does that mean?
Right.
I
think a lot of people, and I know sometimes when we talk about this, I sort of feel like, I must sound like a relic or something. Like
I know.
But I'm not that old. And this has been within my lifetime that these things have happened, or your lifetime,
It's hard
and we're living and and we have a lot more life left in us. This is not something that's a product of some way distant past.
Right.
You know, there are a lot of us walking around on the earth right now that remember these things and that have lived through these things. And, you know, I've tried very hard to make sure that my daughters know what this world was like and that they are familiar with it, that they know their history, because, you know, they have an opportunity to shape history if they know where we've come.
Yes.
And come from. And so I think, yeah, it's important to talk about it.
And when people say, oh, you know, that's history. No, you know, if you lived it.
It's my memory of things.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't that long ago.
No one that long ago.
I'm not that old.
Yeah.
And so I try to drive that home with my kids, you know,
Yeah.
bring up these old memories and
Yeah.
thoughts and friends. And
Right.
because, you know, it's just so important,
It is.
especially today. We're forgetting who our neighbors are.
That's right. Right.
And
That's
those
exactly
important
right.
things.
Yeah.
And, you know, so let me ask you a question about college. And now I see why you had went on to get your master's.
Yeah.
And then these prestigious colleges, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Did you, when you were growing up, you know, as a 10, 12-year-old, right? What were you thinking? What did you want to be? Who did you want to be?
Well, I don't think I at that early stage knew exactly, but there was a point when I got into high school that I had a sense that I wanted to go into banking. And
That's so interesting.
it is so interesting. And I don't know where I got that from, but, well, I can tell you this, that my dad owned a liquor store. And when I was little, my mom and I would go by, and I'm not exactly sure how young I was. I was very young, but I remember that there were mornings where she and I would go by the liquor store and pick up the receipts and the money to go to the bank to make deposits.
Yeah.
And I also remember being in the liquor store, and I looked forward to using the cash register to ring people up who were coming in that morning to buy whatever they were buying in the morning.
Kind of fun.
Yeah, I had a fascination with cash registers that turned into sort of fascination with money and finance and banking and all the things. So it's kind of a weird story, but it's funny. I was just in Atlanta and I just drove by that corner where the liquor store is no longer there. And I fondly remember, it's kind of weird to be the head of MAD talking about the fond memories of the liquor store, but it wasn't that. It was just that this business that my dad was the owner of was like, gave me a sense of like, you know, being in business. So I spent a summer working at First National Bank of Atlanta, which became Wachovia, which became Wells Fargo or something. I don't know.
They're just gobbling
Who knows?
up each other.
And then that led me to go to when I went to Georgetown to major in economics. You know, I'll tell you the story though. I went to Georgetown. By the end of I went to a private high school in Atlanta, really from 7th grade to 12th grade, and I was the only one of 2 Black girls in my class graduating. The school was tough for me. Although I love that school, I'm going to visit them actually on Monday I'll be on campus again to see them. It taught me a lot about how to persevere and how to really struggle as one of only. And
you felt some pressure.
Oh yeah. Very socially isolated. Very much alone in an environment that had a lot of high expectations academically.
And I'm sure your parents didn't intend that.
No, they didn't.
They wanted you to have the best education you could have.
That's it. And just tough it out.
Yeah. Well, sometimes as parents we don't see that.
Yeah.
We want to do the best for our children.
That's right.
But we don't see that they're going to have to deal with.
Well, and I would not have wanted it any other way. I was glad my parents were able to make that investment in me, and I tried my best to take full advantage of it, while at the same time trying to overcome a lot of, when you're in middle school and high school, you're already going through a lot,
Oof,
just
yes.
emotionally and just everything. And then you have another level of just pressure and all the things on top of it. It was a lot going on in my high school. The other thing is, in my senior year of high school, my older sister, had just graduated from Stanford and was living in the Bay Area. Yeah, she was smart.
Oh my
Very
gosh.
smart. And was in a terrible car crash
Oh no.
due to a drowsy driver. So she and some friends were going from the Bay Area to Lake Tahoe on a trip. Car went over the mountain in the Sierra Nevada mountains. She got popped out of the car and landed on her head and broke her neck. And she spent 6 months of my senior year. My whole family, basically my mom and my dad, I was alone for 6 months of my senior year because they were out in California with my sister who was in rehab. She eventually came back just before my high school graduation. But my high school year was tumultuous senior year, because I didn't have my family around to consult with on colleges. I didn't know, I was just on my own, and
That's the toughest time.
that's the toughest time. And I had college counselors at school. I just ended up applying to where everybody else was applying. Like, somebody said, "Where are you applying?" Duke, or it was a lot of schools in the South, Vanderbilt, Duke. I was like, okay, I'll just apply. And I ended up getting into all the places that I wanted to go to. But I applied to Georgetown. I have no idea why, other than the fact that I had these two older half sisters that were in D.C. And I thought, well, if I'm going to go to school, I'd like to go where there's some family. And my choice was between, I winnowed it down to either stay in Atlanta and go to Spelman College, where my grandmother had gone, or I'll go away and go to Georgetown, where my sisters are and my other family. And with all the things going on with my sister, who was then back at home and, in a wheelchair, I felt like maybe I'll just leave so my family can kind of deal with things going, and I'll get out of everybody's way. And that's why I went to Georgetown. That was the reason I went to Georgetown. I hadn't seen the school. I hadn't visited there. I didn't know anybody that had gone there. And
just being selfless and going.
And just going, let me get away, get out of everybody's hair. And that's why I went to Georgetown, yeah.
So real quick, tell me about your sister. Did she make it out of the wheelchair?
My sister was amazing. No, her accident was in 1980. She spent, by 1981, her accident was May of 1980. By the fall of 1981, she was enrolled at Emory Law School.
Wow.
And went to school.
Oh my gosh.
Took the LSAT the spring, before enrolling. Anyway, she, I don't know how she did it, but she was amazing. She finished law school. She worked as a clerk for judges. She became a judge. She was a magistrate court judge in Georgia for a while. She, her last judgeship was as a municipal court judge in the city of Atlanta. And she passed away in 2023. And she's an inspiration to people in Atlanta that saw her getting off the MARTA train and in her wheelchair going to work. I mean, she was amazing. She was amazing. And I think
parents must have been like, the two of you, they had to be like, oh my gosh.
Like, what have we created?
Beyond our expectations.
Yeah. She was really a very special person. Yeah.
To go, to go through that, right? That you break your neck, you're in a wheelchair. So this is, how do you not get so angry about life?
How do you not get so angry? And and there are two things. How do you persevere mentally, emotionally, spiritually through that?
Yeah.
And then physically, I would say the vast majority of people that have spinal cord injuries they are riddled with all kinds of physical challenges. So the fact that she was able to survive, basically 45 years in a wheelchair with a spinal cord injury, severe injury, I think was, she received great care. My mom was a great caregiver for her. She understood a lot about her own condition and how to advocate for herself. And I think that helped sustain her life for a long time. Okay,
so what do you think you learned most from your sister?
Oh, well, when I'm in a sorority, and Delta Sigma Theta sorority, I have to say that. And shout out. And at her Omega service, I talked a lot about the fact that her life is a testament to, there are very few people in this life that have an excuse to just say, I'm going to give up, or I'm going to complain about life. Or not to say that we don't all have struggles, and sometimes we need help with our struggles. We may need therapy, we may need a lot of things, but at the end of the day, you do what you do what you need to do, and you do what you're enabled to do to make it through your life and to overcome those struggles. And she certainly did that. And so she's like a constant reminder to me, and I think to many, many other people, that there are very few excuses just to give up. I mean, I think that's why she was put on this earth, to become a model for that.
So I know sisters and brothers, we have conversations, and an older sister is always going to be in your ear, as my older brother was for me.
Yeah.
What do you remember most? What did she say to you that, whether it's funny or inspirational or that made you like, stop it?
Yeah.
You know?
Let me try not to cry about this. So I think the one thing about her, I think she was just super proud of me, which is really amazing, because I was so proud of her, and I never understood why she was so proud of me. Sorry if I'm making you cry.
No, that's okay.
But I think that's just something you have about your little sister. You just look at them and say, oh my God, they're just so amazing, or they get on your nerves, one or the other.
Well, they'll always do that.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that's what made, was kind of empowering for me. I think that I could sort of look at her and hear her talk about how proud she was of me. And that made me just want to do more, it made me want to continue to work hard and succeed myself, so.
She had every reason to just throw her hands up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And use you as an excuse.
Yeah.
Like, my sister is having this success.
Yeah.
Let me feel bad about what's happened to my
And
life.
she never let us see that she felt bad about herself, or felt.
What an amazing.
She was really incredible. All right.
No,
Here's.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. No, she was. Well, I'm
telling
proud of her. I'm proud of her for being, incredible and just a great role model for a lot of us. She was incredible.
You got this amazing education.
Mm-hmm.
You're obviously an incredibly bright woman, and you started kicking doors open.
Yeah.
And kicking down doors, let me say.
Yeah.
And so tell me about that journey. How do you become a CEO? How do you become a president? How do you get to those levels of leadership?
Yeah. Oh boy, let's see. So how does this happen?
Did you go, I want to be here? Or were you a journeyman in there and going, okay, I'm going to start, this is my job and this is what I love to do?
There was something about me that I would see situations and feel like, I don't like that situation, and want to change it.
Oh, that's
at work, in my life, in my community. That I've always been that kind of person. Like, I don't like that, I'm going to change.
There's got to be a better way.
There's got to be a better way. Why are we doing it this way? I don't understand it.
Too many people fall into that. I just want to be comfortable, make my check.
Yeah.
I don't want to disrupt anything.
Yeah.
And then some people go,
no, we got to do it differently.
We got to do it.
Yeah. So there's something in me that it's unsettling if I see things I don't like, that I feel like need to be done differently.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that in me. But I think I didn't really see myself ever being a CEO of something. I don't think I ever I didn't think I ever aspired to that, really. And I don't know that I really knew that I had it in me. But I worked on Wall Street. So after graduation from Georgetown, I went immediately to business school, which was a whole nother thing, because I was expecting to take a break and work for a little bit before going to graduate school. And my father was like, no, that's not what we do in this family. You go from undergrad to grad, and that's just what happens. And his model was, you're a doctor, lawyer, that's what people do. They just go straight through. And I didn't think I was going to get into business school because most business schools weren't really allowing people in that didn't have work experience or didn't, have work experience to go. But I ended up getting to Michigan, loved Michigan, and went to Wall Street.
Wow.
And I knew that I wanted to be on Wall Street because I had this banking thing in me. When I went to Wall Street, though, I did not want to be, and remember, this is the late 80s. If people remember junk bonds and things like, remember
Right.
Wall Street, the movie, it was like that.
It was crazy.
It was crazy time, right?
Yes.
And I did not want to do that. I did not want to be like in that kind of corporate finance, mergers and acquisitions side
Taking
of.
advantage of people.
No.
Because
No,
there
I
was
didn't do
a
that.
lot of those boiler rooms where they were
Yeah.
doing nutty things.
That's right. A lot of nutty things. What I wanted to do, I found out about this part of Wall Street that was about public finance, which was around raising money for state and local governments to build roads and bridges and schools and hospitals and infrastructure and all those things. And I thought, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to use my banking experience and finance to do good.
Yes.
So I flew myself to New York. A lot of those kinds of bankers weren't coming to recruit at Michigan. They were staying on the East Coast. So I flew myself to New York and I cold called people and I was like, I know you do public finance. I don't know you. You don't know me. I'm a student at University of Michigan. Will you please just meet with me, talk to me, tell me what you do? That's it. Now, in the back of my mind, I wanted a job, but I was like, I did want to just know what they did.
Of course.
And so everybody that I called was like willing to sit down with me. It's kind of weird.
Was it luck, or was it just there wasn't a lot of people looking at that particular industry, that side of Wall Street?
It wasn't where most people wanted to go. Mm-hmm. So maybe that was it. But I also think it was just like this, who is this woman calling me? Like this, like
yes.
she's bold, she's got some guts, I think. So
Probably is true.
Probably is true.
Yes.
So I talked to people, and I ended up getting a job at Merrill Lynch, which had the #1 public finance group on Wall Street at the time. Crazy. And then I moved, after New York, I moved to Atlanta, and then I eventually went to Fannie Mae. I'm just cutting this story short a little bit, but to get to your question, which is when I was at Fannie Mae, after 5 years of working in investment banking, I got to Fannie Mae in the regional office of Fannie Mae in Atlanta, and I felt overwhelmed. I was the youngest in the management group. I'd been hired at a senior level, and I was the only African-American person of leadership. It felt intimidating and overwhelming. And my boss at the time, I wouldn't even talk in meetings sometimes because I was so scared and overwhelmed, and I was just afraid I'd say something stupid or whatever.
Because how old were you?
Yeah, I was 28.
Wow.
And I just was just quiet. And so my boss pulled me to the side and said, Stacey, you know what? You're really smart. And I wouldn't have hired you if you weren't really smart. And when you're in these meetings, I need you to speak up because your voice really matters, and I know you've got great ideas.
Wow.
And the minute he said that to me was so impactful. It was, yeah, you're right. I am really smart. Why am I not talking? Yes. Why am I not speaking up? And it was as if he let loose some sort of wild animal or something. Like, he completely gave me license to be who I was.
Wow.
And I know I've said that to women before, and they're like, well, why, why'd this man have to do that? I'm like, I don't know, but I don't care. I don't care. Like, yes. He was my boss.
Yeah.
Man, woman, whoever it was. And he was believing in me. And he was saying, I trust you. And in many ways, it was validating who I thought I was anyway. And it was really important to me. So I took that and ran with it.
That's so important because so many young people, right? They get intimidated. My son, right? He's an entrepreneur, he's graduating college this year. He wants to go out there, and he goes, so he has a couple partners that he's partnering with that are older and established, and they have history, and he goes, I'm just feel intimidated, or I don't know, he's scared to speak up. And I said, son, you have phenomenal ideas.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid just because your age.
Right.
You have the same, you should be in the room, right?
Right.
You're in the room.
You're in the room.
So to everybody out there,
Yeah.
and whether you're a woman or man or
Yeah.
young kid, right?
It's also why if you're somebody's boss or mentor or something, and I try to do this for women that work with me today, if we're in meetings, and I still see a lot of young women doing this, the same thing I did when I was 28, not speaking in big meetings, not participating fully. And I know they're super smart.
Yeah.
And I'll try to call them out and say, so-and-so, you haven't said something. What do you think? Because sometimes it takes that. And I think, I think we've made a lot of progress as women in the workplace. We're certainly in positions that where we have authority and we have the ability to make decisions, and that's all great. And then we still have a lot of women who are trying to get to that point, right, in their careers. They're trying to understand, do they feel empowered? Do they feel like they have the ability to do what they see other women doing or other people doing? And I think we have to be women in the workplace who encourage others. Unfortunately, in my career, some of the women more senior than me were the very ones who not only did they not encourage me, they actually were hurtful to me, unfortunately. So my mentors and my sponsors and my supporters, almost to a person, except for my one boss at Merrill Lynch, who was amazing, have all been men.
I was going to ask you about that. Did you see any things that where people wanted to hold you back because of your color, or your race, or being a woman? Because I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
And I've heard about it a lot. And what's fascinating is that other women treated you differently.
Yeah. I never knew whether or not it was for what reason it may have been. I don't know why, but I have had the experience of other women who did not extend themselves to me in the ways that I may have hoped or even asked for. And in some cases went out of their way to hurt things I was trying to do. And I don't know why that is.
Okay, so what if a woman's going through that right now?
Yeah.
She needs to find her voice.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to say to her? What do you say if the upper management leadership is like, because there's all kinds of leaders, some pretty bad ones,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about me.
Yeah.
What do you say to that young woman or young man that is trying to find their voice and is not getting that proper leadership?
Well, I think sometimes it's okay to go to the people that are maybe in a position of authority that can help you and ask for their help.
Yeah.
And put them on the spot to say, I'm looking for help. I'm looking for advice. I'm looking for support. Would you provide that to me? Would you be helpful in whatever way? I think if they're unwilling to do that, then I think you may have to examine whether or not this is a place where you can really succeed, Right. And I was so blessed to work at Fannie Mae for as long as I did, because that's where the launch of my career happened. That's where I really began to understand that I could be a leader, that there were people that believed in me. There were people willing to invest in me.
Okay.
And I don't think my career would be anywhere near where it's been in all this time had I not had that sponsorship, mentorship, training, assistance, guidance that I got from a lot of leaders at Fannie Mae who were kind-hearted and who were tough and who were smart but they were also looking to cultivate the next generation of talent like me and others. And I think that environment was what helped me succeed. There's no question in my mind about it.
Yeah, apparently they had a great culture and they understood the importance of that.
Yeah.
Which can be the major downfall of so many companies, because then you're going to get a leader that doesn't want, right? They just they just grow cancer.
They just And I think most organizations, companies or nonprofit organizations, I mean, the vast majority of our budget at Mothers Against Drunk Driving is spent on our people. the biggest asset we have are our people.
That's so good.
We don't do the work that we do without people who feel, motivated and feel good about coming to work every day, who feel like it's a place where they can succeed. And we have, 85% of our workforce is women. We have a lot of women who work at MAD. And so I think, cultivating a culture that works is really the best and only way that most companies, again, nonprofit or for-profit, can succeed and really thrive. And I think as leaders, it's the most important job we have.
How long were you at Fannie Mae?
So I was at Fannie Mae. I was in Atlanta at the regional office, and then I got promoted to become president and CEO of the Fannie Mae Foundation in Washington. I was in Atlanta from 92 to 99 with Fannie Mae on the corporate side. And at the time, the Fannie Mae Foundation was still a part of Fannie Mae, but it was a separate entity from the company. So I actually had to leave the company, go to the foundation, but it was also seen as to be president and CEO of the Fannie Mae Foundation, which at the time was the largest foundation dedicated to affordable housing, to ending homelessness nationally. It was viewed as a sort of leadership stepping stone to come back in the company at some point and take on a bigger role. So, but what happened is when I went to become president and CEO of the Fannie Mae Foundation, I loved it, and I was then in the nonprofit philanthropic side of the world, and I never expected myself to be there because I got to business school, so I wasn't thinking I was going to run a nonprofit. And I loved it, and the reason I loved it was because of the work. Right, it was doing good work for good people, helping people, but it was also a business challenge that needed to be solved. The Fannie Mae Foundation didn't have a strategy. It was sort of a amalgamation of a lot of different parts of the company that had gotten pulled out of the company and put into this foundation without a lot of rhyme or reason, a little bit, but not as much. It didn't have a lot of cohesiveness. So the teams that were there didn't really know each other. People were sitting in cubes next to each other and didn't know each other's names, didn't know what anyone else was doing.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, does
it didn't make sense. So before I got there had been 3 other CEOs in about as many years who got frustrated or was like, this is too much or whatever, and they left. And I stuck it out for 7 years there.
Wow.
And we built, I think, what was an amazing organization. The housing crisis hit, and we folded the foundation back into the company. So I went back in the company for about a year. And I decided a headhunter called and I moved on to United Way Worldwide, but I stayed in this nonprofit philanthropic, world. But what I found out about myself through all of that was that my biggest strength wasn't finance and banking the way I thought it was.
Yeah.
It was really more around corporate strategy. And I should have known that. When I was at University of Michigan, I was taught by this amazing professor, C.K. Prahalad, who was like a guru of corporate strategy at the time. And I was enthralled with him and loved his class and did really well. And that should have been my first sign that what I really, at the end of the day, was my strength was taking an organization and figuring out how to create a pathway forward, a strategic pathway that would pull in all parts of the organization and really, move the organization to growth and to being able to thrive. And that's been the story of my life. And I discovered that at the Fannie Mae Foundation, but it's been the story in every other role I've taken on.
Well, yeah, and as I've looked at your career, you come into companies that are really in kind of disarray.
Yeah, struggling,
and fix them. So that right there, to tell a young entrepreneur,
yes,
strategy.
Yeah. It's like going in a bunch of startups all the time and just
oh my God,
trying to figure out how to get them going again. And for me, I mean, and I've done it, and I've tried to get the organizations on the right path. It is important that the next leader come in and sort of continue that.
Yeah. Because
you put the organization at risk if you don't. But it's been exciting to me to take what's really a business challenge and apply some of those skills from business school, even in a nonprofit setting where our mission may be around helping people to overcome homelessness or to deal with mothers who are struggling with difficult pregnancies and babies who are born unhealthy. I mean, I have covered a range of different things in this world and social needs that are important. When I was at United Way working on education or financial stability or health, and again, March of Dimes working on maternal and infant health, even now working on ending impaired driving. To me, I know people look at my career and say, how in the world does this even make sense that you've gone from all these different things? And for me, the through line isn't the social good that I'm working on. The through line is how do you take organizations from where they are to where they can be
Yeah.
so that they can do the most for that mission. The experts in the field, the subject matter, I surround myself with them. And they can explain the work to me all day long. At the end of the day, what I'm here to do is to take that work and execute on it and get a team of people to execute on it so that we can all achieve it. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, truly, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love it
Just-
all. I love all these
yes,
challenges.
The
Yeah.
strategy's the strategy
Yeah.
and understanding, and your brain just sees it clearly.
I have something in my brain that sees things clearly, and it's not always a straight path of how you get there.
Right.
But like for example, when I was at March of Dimes, I love to tell this story because the big issue that March of Dimes was struggling with, March of Dimes, amazing organization, funded the polio vaccine. We have eradicated polio in this country. It would be eradicated around the world, but for access to the vaccine. One of the most amazing public health miracles ever achieved
Yeah.
in the world. Where do you go from there? Well, March of Dimes tried to move into birth defects and then focusing on premature birth, which is a huge issue. Premature birth, though, I had all of the best researchers and scientists and OBGYNs around me. 70% of the problem of premature birth was really babies born too soon, but born too soon by just a week or 2 or 3, right? So full term of birth is 37 weeks. 70% of the preterm births are happening to women at 34, 35, and 36 weeks. So I'm looking at it thinking, wait, are you telling me all we have to do is help women be pregnant 1 or 2 or 3 weeks more?
Doesn't seem like
And then we
much.
could deal with not the whole issue. And of course, we know with premature birth, the really severe issues are for those that are born at 21, 22, 27 weeks, all of that. Got it. But there's some big achievements we could make if we could get that 70% dealt with. Well, what we found is that it's a big lift because what's happening is many mothers their health is declining late in pregnancy. Looking at that then causes us to say, well, then if we want babies to be born healthy, moms stay pregnant longer, just a little bit, we have to focus not only on the baby, but on the mom's health as well. Mm-hmm. And that allowed us to move into a strategy where we could say that our positioning as an organization was about healthy moms and strong babies. It allowed us to be able to talk more directly to mothers, to women. It allowed us to open up a whole conversation with women who are the biggest consumers and buyers in their household, with lots of different companies who wanted to reach those women. So do you know what I'm saying? Like, solving the social issue also solves some of the business challenges that we were facing as well.
So I'm listening to you and I'm going, well, that sounds pretty logical. You got 70% of the problem is this. Was nobody seeing that?
I think a lot of
had an outside view.
Yeah, I think it was important to bring the outside view. I think a lot of people saw the data, but were unclear about what that meant for our strategy and what that meant for what were the next steps. And I think as we were trying to reposition the organization, it was really important to ground it in the data and the evidence and say, well, based on what we see, this is what we need to do. Same thing at MAD. We're at Mothers Against Drunk Driving, we're looking at the issue of impaired driving. And, one of the things that we're looking at is the fact that 2/3 of the fatalities are coming from drivers who are at twice the legal limit or more. Twice the legal limit or more is a lot of alcohol.
Okay, real quick, because this is an important thing we're going to get into there. But how long have you been with MAD?
So I started with MAD at the beginning of 2023. It's been 2.5 years.
Okay. All right. So you're coming into this new issue and new problem because they've done a lot of good. A lot of legislation.
Yeah.
But there's still work to be done.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't know. MAD was started in 1980, so you and I were pretty young.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember.
But we've lived in a time when there wasn't a minimum age of 21 to drink.
Oh, yeah.
That happened, 40 years ago. We're celebrating the 40th anniversary of that law being passed. We're celebrating this year the 25th anniversary of .08 being the legal limit for blood alcohol concentration level, impairment level. Those fights were led by MAD. Because of those things, MAD has saved thousands and thousands of lives. MAD has achieved amazing, great things. And then, even today, there will be about 13,000 people that will still die because of an impaired driving crash. Hundreds of thousands of people that will still be injured. We have not solved the issue. Today, we have a law that's been passed in 2021 that now mandates anti-drunk driving technology to be included in all cars, but we're not to full implementation on that yet. So we're still working on that. But the success that MAD has had over a long period of time has been amazing. I think a lot of people think, well, why do people have to get behind the wheel? We have Uber, we have Lyft, we have rideshare, we have, people know about designated drivers. Like, why do people do this? Well, to this point, if 2/3 of the fatalities are happening with drivers who are twice the legal limit or more, and 80% of those drivers say, I think I'm an alcoholic or I have problems with alcohol. And if alcohol is not the only issue going on, it's cannabis and other things. We still have a problem that hasn't been fully solved. And this technology is the one thing that has said of the 13,000 people that will die, other outside organizations have said we could save the lives of 10,000 of those people every single year once this technology is fully implemented.
Are you kidding?
So, right. So it's like that. It's like, oh, well, then we need technology because
Why are we doing this?
why are we doing this? Because what we know about impaired driving, two things. If a huge number, even a majority of the people that are on the roads that are causing these fatalities are people that are struggling with mental wellness, substance use disorder, then two things. One is we got to get help for people. That we're looking at a public health crisis. It's not just a traffic safety issue that we're dealing with. That's the way Matt always looked at it.
Right.
It's more than that. It's a public health crisis. It's a mental wellness crisis. We talk a lot in this country about it having an opioid crisis, and we do have that. But we've got a substance use crisis. I'm now reading there are other drugs now that are now taking over from where fentanyl and other things have left off. If it's not one thing, it's another. What people are struggling with is how to address the mental health challenges they're facing, where they're maybe using substances, alcohol and other substances, to self-medicate. And then that's causing a ripple effect of other issues like, I've used drugs and alcohol, maybe I'll get behind the wheel and drive because I think I'm okay, and you're certainly not. But now you're putting yourself at risk and others at risk. And that's what we're dealing with. The technology will be there if people are still struggling in their lives with those things. The technology would be there to make sure the car can't operate if you are dealing with those things. Mm-hmm. But I mean, frankly, MAD needs to have a stronger voice to make sure that people in this country and around the world have other resources available to them. We can't solve it all, the mental health crisis that we face, but can we be a voice to help ensure that those resources are available to people? I think we should be.
Yeah, and if it's a massive challenge to try to figure out mental health.
Yeah, no, it's huge.
I mean, that is just, I can't even breathe thinking about how you even attempt that.
Yeah.
But we're trying. But if we can have a solution from technology,
yes,
that's not a big lift.
That's not a big
lift. We know we can save 10,000 people.
That's right.
Kidding me?
That's right. And
there shouldn't even be a question. That should be
It shouldn't even be a question. And one of the things about looking at the data that, going back to how I've tried to look at data and evidence to inform what we ought to do, during COVID, from 2019 to 2022, we saw a 33% increase in fatalities. Well, guess what? There was a 40+% increase in the number of people facing depressive-related episodes or anxiety-related episodes. We know there's a strong correlation between impaired driving that happens and other mental health issues that are going on. There was less driving going on in COVID. That was the lockdown, 2019, 2022. Less driving, more alcohol use, more substance use, fewer cars on the road, but 33% more fatalities. If that doesn't tell you that this is strongly based in a set of issues that maybe we didn't look at it this way at MAD before, but we're forced to have to face the reality today of this is what we're facing right now, and how do we develop, our position as an organization that acknowledges that and then still tries to solve for that.
Oh, man, truly, the work you're doing is amazing. I hate to use that word because amazing's way too generalized and used in the world, but it's just powerful.
Yeah.
When you change lives,
Yeah.
It's more than amazing.
Right.
And so that's what saving lives is. Let me ask you a question, because you've been in this field, right? The philanthropic field for so many years and helping people. For you personally, what do you think you've learned? What was the most important lesson you learned?
I think the most important thing I've learned is just how to trust my gut. There are things and instincts I have that, and things I'm able to read about certain situations or certain people. And I'm not saying I'm always right about it. I'm certainly not. But I'm more right about things sometimes than I'm surprised myself at how much I'm right about what I think. And that little voice inside is usually where it's coming from is right more often than not. And learning to lean on that is really important. It's also really important to have, for me, I've learned to have really good people around me. I had a mentor. One of my mentors was Vernon Jordan, who's known me ever since I was born, before I was born, actually. And I remember when I went to the Fannie Mae Foundation, I was talking to him about it. He said, Stacey, the most important thing you can do is get your own team, get your team. And I think that was the other thing for me, is getting a team of people around me, because I know I have a lot of things I do well. There are a lot of things I don't do well. There are a lot of things that I need to rely on other people to do. And there are a lot of things that I have to delegate to other people, because if I don't, I get mired in the weeds of something that I really don't need to be involved in. And that there are other people that around me could do a much better job. So I think that trusting in my gut and my instinct, and then getting a good team, are the things that I've really learned how to rely on in every single situation that I've been in.
So many people, when you say, in the weeds and things we shouldn't be doing, I find myself doing that. Silly stuff. And I've got people around me and which they should be doing, and then I'm doing it, going, well, I'm going to teach that I can sweep the floor too. And sometimes you have to go, okay, well, my time's
let somebody
important.
else do that.
Yes.
Also, just not being a perfectionist too.
Right.
And I think sometimes that can be a pitfall for a lot of women, is we always want to make everything perfect. And going back to you asked a question about what kind of student I was a strong B plus student.
Okay. Good.
And my mom would always say, why can't you bring home the A in this? And I kept thinking, because one, I may have tried, and that was the best I got. So whatever, that was all I could do, right? It was like I wasn't trying hard. But I also think that for me, even in the situations I deal with at work, and you don't need perfect information to make a decision. You got to be able to get about 80% of what you need to know, and then make a decision and move. And then hopefully you can iterate and adjust as you go. But life doesn't always give us the luxury of time to wait until there's perfect information to go ahead and say, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Yes.
And then when situations where you've got to turn around an organization, you don't have luxury time. Sometimes you have a few months. Sometimes you have 1 year, and you've got to make the best decision that you can make at that moment.
That's right.
With the best that you have available to you. And I think that's the thing that some people miss sometimes, is waiting too long to figure out what's the best thing to do. And even if you make a mistake, or somebody on your team makes a mistake, if they put forth the effort to sort of look at a situation and try to make a good judgment about it, and they use good judgment skills to do that, you have to give people grace to say, yep, I got it. I would have done the same thing.
Yes.
So let's go. What do we do next?
Very seldom are we in a perfect situation to make the perfect decision.
Yes.
That just doesn't happen.
It
That's
doesn't
not life.
happen. That's not the way life serves up
That's right.
things to you, Yeah.
Okay, my boys out there, just understand, son, everything's not going to be perfect.
It's not going to be perfect.
You got to just pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So, all right, what are you most proud of today that you've
Oh,
done in your career?
what I've done in my career.
Not. I know you have two beautiful children.
I was going to say my daughters are what
Of
I'm most proud of.
Of course.
No question about that.
And then we're going to get to that. What have you told your daughters?
Yeah.
But yeah, in your career, what are you most proud of?
So I am really proud of being able to look back at some of the work that I've done in many organizations and feel like I contributed at a pretty high level to helping organizations succeed and helping people succeed. I also am really proud of the people that are in my life that I've worked with over many years who still want to be around me.
Of course.
Who I like being around,
Yes.
and they can give me, can say that there were times we spent together working that were productive for them or that were meaningful for them or that made a difference in their lives. That means a lot to me. Because I think it's the people that I've been around and the people that I've had a chance to work with that mean the most, or the people that we've impacted.
Okay, this one's for moms and dads because it's okay to be, proud of how our children turned out.
Yeah.
And so, when you look at those daughters of yours,
Yeah.
and tell me about them and their conversations with you, and they go, Mom, what have you taught them?
Yeah.
You're this amazing, powerful woman.
Yeah.
Now, how do you pass that wonderfulness on?
Yeah. I think what I've tried to be is the kind of mother that I think my parents and my grandparents were to me. Like,
So good. Give me
you know
one
what I'm
there,
saying?
'cause that's where it comes from.
That's where it comes from. And my parents and grandparents, they let their actions and their lives be my example.
Yeah.
For me, my model of parenting wasn't to talk you through every issue or talk to you about what you should do in this situation, I tried to put a lot of trust and confidence in my girls that they would, through all the things that maybe I did advise them on or the ways in which I conducted my life, that they would be able to understand how to make good judgments in their own life. And I think that's worked. Maybe others would disagree, but I think it's worked. And I also think what it does is, what I hope it has done is empower them to be able to make judgments when I'm not around. To be able to make good decisions when I'm not around. Now, I'm always around them. I was one. They were both, in great schools. They both were athletes. They both were Girl Scouts. They both did all the things. They took music lessons. They didn't, and I took them to everything.
Yes.
So I was very involved in their lives, but I also tried to give them enough opportunity to make decisions on their own. So, for example, my oldest daughter went to University of California, Santa Cruz. She is a marine biologist now.
Wow.
She's looking at graduate schools, and she's considering what opportunities she wants to pursue in her gap time between now and graduate school and getting her PhD. And just seeing her go through her process of how she networks and meets people and makes those decisions. Well, first of all, I can't tell her what to do as a marine biologist because I have no idea. I have no idea what to do. So I have to trust that she knows what she's doing, and but when she needs help and when she needs advice, I hope to be there for her. Her dad is there for her. My youngest daughter is a junior at Syracuse, pursuing her own grade school, pursuing a career she's majoring in journalism, U.S. history, super passionate about a lot of things. She's a great writer and a great editor and has done some great things. And I'm looking forward to what her next chapter will be even after school. But I love that they're doing their own thing. They're not doing what mom is doing. They're not doing what their dad's doing. They're doing their own thing.
I see this proud mama.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted them, I was big in girls in sports. I'm a huge sports fan. I wanted my girls to participate in sports. I wanted them to go play college sports. I really did.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do that. And I understand that because when you're a big time college athlete, that's your life. And they wanted other things in their life. And I respect that. And I love that for them, And I don't care whether I had that dream for them. It doesn't matter. It's not my life. That's their life, So they have to live their lives. And I want to be there to support them in that. And I'm excited about all that they're doing, everything that they're doing. But I still love sports. So that's what it is.
You're from Atlanta,
Yeah.
huge sports town.
Yeah.
And one of my best
Not always good,
friends.
but we've had good years from time to time.
Yes. No, I've gotten to spend a lot of time in Atlanta because I was saying one of my best friends, Spud Webb, played
Spud
for the
Webb.
Hawks forever.
Yes, when I was growing up, man, Spud was it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I wish I knew that. I should have put 2 and 2 together and have him come.
Oh, I
join
remember
us
Pistol
today.
Pete. Like I go way back in Atlanta Hawks. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
I went to Falcons games with my dad. I went to Braves games with my dad. I was in the stadium when Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record.
Stop it.
I was.
What a moment.
What a moment.
Don't tell me you caught a ball or something.
No.
But
yeah.
just to be there, to
Yeah.
experience that
Yeah.
with your pop,
With my dad.
right?
Yes.
So those kind of priceless moments. Are
Yes. Yeah.
Your dad, he would be so proud today.
Yeah.
To hear you go, that was a moment
I know.
that means so much to me.
Yes. And my sister and I shared a lot of sports. We loved sports together. That's been a huge part of my life.
Let's talk about the WNBA and this wonderful explosion that's happening.
Oh,
It's
so exciting.
It is so exciting to see what's going on because they were just a stepchild for so long.
Yes.
And
yes.
what made that change? Did somebody take over the WNBA and change the culture? Or, when you go in and change companies.
Yes.
What happened? How did this happen all of a sudden the last 3 years?
Well, what's really interesting because we have come a long way. Part of why I didn't play sports a lot, I ran track a little bit and I played a little bit of basketball. I wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Was because I don't think my parents saw that there was a future for women in sports when I was growing up. I mean, now there were women in sports. There were women doing amazing things in sports. But generally speaking, I think my parents made a decision, no. The sports thing for you is going nowhere. So, or for women is going nowhere. So you need to focus on school. And that's what I did.
Education is
Education was always there, right? And always, whether you're an athlete or not.
Yeah.
But I saw it differently when my girls came along. I saw that sports really could be not only could there be a career in it, but that sports gives so many young people and young girls so many skills. If you get a resume from a D1 athlete, I'm probably going to hire her.
Wow.
Because I know that she knows a lot about teamwork and leadership and perseverance and resilience and all the things.
That makes so much sense.
Huge.
I hear that about military too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've had a military
absolutely.
background.
That's it. Yeah. Hire on the spot, right? So what I would say, what I've observed about women's sports over a long period of time, and I will tell you, there's a lot in my life. So when my girls were playing sports, I got into this whole thing around covering girls' sports because I got so frustrated that in social media, you'd see all the boys getting all the hype and the girls not getting the hype. So I was seeing all the girl athletes that were amazing because they were playing with my girls or on other teams. And so I just started taking pictures of my girls. Then I started taking pictures of their teammates. And then I started sharing pictures. And my husband at the time said, "Hey, I was like, what am I going to do with all these pictures of these girls? I'm like that are not mine." And he said, "Why don't you start Instagram?" And so I lived in Washington D.C. and I started Instagram called Sports Mom DMV, and I started posting about all these girls that were playing sports, and I tagging them, and then all of a sudden these girls were like, "Who is this woman giving us all this notoriety and posting us?" I mean, I didn't have that many followers, but it was just the fact that no one was talking about them, and I started talking about them. Then out of that, I would go to high school games in my after work and all this, and I'd volleyball, soccer, lacrosse,
Really?
basketball, and And I would go to games and they would say, "Who was that woman taking pictures on the sideline or whatever?" And people would say, "Oh, that's Sports Mom DMV." So I became known in Washington
Wow.
community as Sports Mom DMV, not as the March and I'm CEO or the Mad CEO, whatever.
Yeah.
And so but I was just in love with seeing these strong, powerful girls succeed in sports. Then from there, Tommy, I started a foundation. I've supported 13 girls to become recruit ready.
Wow.
Girls that are now paying their freshman year in basketball, in volleyball, or have already been recruited or have committed to schools. Because what I wanted to do was level the playing field from girls from certain communities who didn't have all the resources to play at the highest level. So long story short, I feel like I've seen the evolution of women's sports. I love what's going on at the WNBA. I love the attention. I know that there are a lot of women who've paved the way for that. People like Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops.
Oh, sure.
I mean, Maya Moore. Then the list is endless, right? Dawn Staley is, I love her and what she's done for the sport. Gino Auriemma, I love what he's done for the sport. But I love what's going on now. And I love how so many people have tuned into what's happening, what Caitlin Clark has brought to the game, what Kelsey Mitchell has brought to the game, what Asia Wilson has brought to the game. All of these women are just, and we're not even done. This is, I feel like it's been a long time making, but we're just starting.
Oh, no. The next 5 years is going to be, it's going to really just keep exploding.
But what we need to do to invest in young women, not only to play at the highest level in sports, but to invest in them becoming leaders in society. What they learn from sports to be the next CEOs. And we know that a lot of CEOs played sports.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Or they were Girl Scouts.
Very good. This has been fabulous.
It's great.
And I could do this all afternoon because you're so fascinating and it's just so much fun.
Well, I appreciate that so much.
I kind of wrap things up every episode because I'm a dog lover and we rescue dogs.
I know, which I love that about you.
Do you have puppy dogs at home?
I do have a dog.
See,
and I do have a dog. My dog is also being cared for by one of my colleagues now because I'm traveling so much and all that. But I have a dog named Kobe.
Hey, Kobe. Okay. I love it. So they're so important in our lives.
Yes.
When you come home from traveling.
Yeah.
And who's there to love on you?
Yeah. Well,
Kobe's there first.
Kobe's there. Kobe is being caretaken by a good colleague, but
that's good.
But Kobe's always in my heart, and I love that you love dogs so much because dogs are so.
And we just
our best friends.
We preach from the highest mountain. Make sure when you come home, you give that dog a hug. Because that dog's there just wagging that little tail, and you don't just go, okay, I'll take you out or something. Yes. Just look in their eyes for a minute.
Love.
Give them that.
Yes, they need that love.
They just need that back because they give us so much.
They do.
And we talked about mental health. These guys help us through those tough times.
Absolutely. Truly. No question.
Anyway, thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you.
Having you on the couch meant so much for me today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.